Welcome to Discovering 615, the podcast celebrating the people, places, and stories that make Middle Tennessee amazing. Here's your host, Rob Thacker, realtor with eXp Realty, better known as Thack Attack 615.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Discovering 615. I'm your host, Rob Thacker, or better known to some of you as Thack Attack 615, realtor with eXp Realty. And today's episode is a little different and pretty special. I'm joined today by Carter Wells. Carter, glad to have you on. He's a 16-year-old jazz pianist from Middle Tennessee. He plays both by ear and reads music, and likes to create his own jazz pieces. And so, Carter, we met at a Christmas party.
Yes, we did.
So I enjoyed listening to you play. So, man, welcome to the podcast today, man.
Thank you for having me.
Well, good. So let's just begin at the beginning. How did life for you begin with playing music?
So at the very start of my music career, I guess you would say, it was 2016, August of 2016, and I began taking classical lessons with my first teacher, first classical teacher. I had started jazz for a long time, and so I took those classical lessons for a while. I had always listened to a lot of music since I was really young, and that kind of influenced where I went with it too. So yeah, that's where I began.
So that's where you began with classical music.
Yes.
That sounds like a common thread for everybody.
Yeah, a lot of people start. Yeah.
So when did it turn into a love for jazz? How did that happen?
So it was not as poetic as one might think, but I had a classical piece that was written out, but it was really jazz. It was really the style of jazz, and my first piano teacher had me play it, and so my mom knew a lady in Springfield that went to her church, and so she taught jazz piano lessons, right? And so my mom was like, what if he starts playing jazz? And so she sent him the video, and she was like, well, I'm not going to teach him, but I have this person that's better at teaching for him, and his name is Richard Rapani. And so my mom sent her the video of me playing that written out piece, and it was like, we'll have like a audition here. It was like right here. And where he would come in and he would teach me a few things and see if he could be he doesn't take a lot of students, and so he'd see if I could take him, if he could take me. And so that's how that started. And then I began learning how to improvise, and first I started with like a boogie woogie, which is like a really common chord progression. It's just like 1, 4, 5. It's like a blues kind of thing. And that was like where it started, because blues is more rudimentary. Not rudimentary. It depends on how far you go with it, but at the beginning, that's where you would usually start. So that's how I began with jazz, and then I began to really love like creating new chords to play around with, and then just sitting here and like noodling and figuring out new things that sound really cool. That's how that began.
Okay. So you start out, like we said, following the progression, you start out as classical, which meant you were reading music.
Yes, reading music.
So you started out reading music, then where did you realize, in terms of like, was it with the jazz that you realized, oh, hey, I like this, figuring out, you said noodling, by ear, and then learning to play by ear?
Mm-hmm. I guess I'd always kind of like noodled around and found like how to play songs I'd heard before as well. I started that like while I was still taking classical lessons before my jazz. I sat down and figured out how to play Cold as Ice by Foreigner. That was my first one that I did. And then, so I had always done that, and the jazz kind of like accentuated that. I guess
Okay.
the jazz lessons. It made me want to do it more.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when did you start composing then your own music then as well?
I began composing I actually began composing like classical songs, I guess you would say.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit after my classical lessons. So I had different songs. They probably have videos somewhere, but I don't have them now. But I had made like melodies and with a few different chords, and they were like not in jazz, since I didn't know like what jazz kind of was at that time.
Right.
Yeah. And then after that, I started making jazz songs. Recently, I made a classical song that I really enjoy playing, and a few others too. So it's like I don't care kind of the genre. I just always like if I found something interesting and I had a melody in my head, just like get out the piano. Yeah.
That's cool. So what inspires some of your original pieces that you've done? I mean, because I've heard your dad and I were talking at the party. He said you guys some original pieces that you've done. What's the inspiration behind those? So
like a person that inspired them, or like the music.
Well, let's start out with people. In fact, that's a great segue in terms of who inspires you in terms of your music. Who do you like to listen to, and then what inspires you with your original pieces too?
So my favorite band is Steely Dan.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Love Steely Dan.
They've got a great sound.
Oh, they do. And so I listen to them a lot. But in terms of like my writing, what inspires me the most is, I don't know exactly what inspires me the most. I just listen to a lot of things, and then whenever they kind of accumulate, whenever I start to write, and I kind of use it as like a language, you know what I mean?
Okay.
And so it's like a bunch of, like I hear all these songs, and then they're kind of like words, and then I kind of make it into a sentence whenever I
gotcha.
make a song. But one of my songs was like kind of very inspired by like a Frank Sinatra kind of.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so that was one of them, and I named it after my grandma who got me into music. But she was like my biggest kind of like reason for playing music.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
what's the name of that song?
Dottie. She was called Granny Dottie.
Okay.
And so, or Dorothy, but you know. That's what I named it. Because before I even started taking lessons, she would sit down at the piano with me and she would play a song. She was like, "Play this," and then we started playing like Heart and Soul and Canon in D and stuff like that.
Okay.
And for release, and so that's what like catalyzed me to even like start taking lessons.
Well, can we hear a little bit of Dottie?
Yeah.
So when you talk about, for example, you just played Dottie for us, does that come from, do you go with like what you think in terms of structure first, or does it sometimes come by feel, or it depends?
I guess it depends. Like some of the songs, that one was mostly feel. Like I found a melody, like I found that right there, and then I had then the next parts of it started coming in my head, and then I figured it out on the piano. So that was mostly feel and and then I found the chords to it, and then so it was kind of like not so much structure, but the emotion of it itself, and it expanded upon that into structure. And then, but if I'm finding sometimes I'll make cool things just because they're fun to play.
Okay.
So I had one that I made that was like.
Gotcha.
So
So let's try something here if you don't mind. So if I say something like, give you a word like melancholy, what would you come up with in terms of?
probably something.
And if we were to flip that and go happy or joyous, what would something? Yeah, something like a little ragtime there.
Just like more bouncy feeling.
So bounce. Now, in terms of like, do you ever do anything like? So we did melancholy, happy, joyous. In terms of, is angry one or is that? Not?
Yeah, I actually like some of my classical songs.
Okay.
Like got me a little angry, so it was like.
Absolutely. Oh wow. Can't think of any others. What about what about something like let's do one more just for kicks. Courageous, bold, something like that. Courage or I don't know, adventurous. Maybe that's more of it. Adventurous. That might be the word. So how is in terms of family and friends, in terms of how, because obviously you've got a gift. How have they? What's their response been, support been for you in terms of with your music and everything like that? Yeah.
So like all of them have been like super supportive of it, and my brother especially. He like brags to all his friends. He's like all the time.
Yeah.
That makes me feel great because
This is an older brother or younger brother?
Older brother.
Okay, older brother.
So
Okay,
he's in
gotcha.
college. He's telling all his
Okay.
friends.
Oh wow.
So, yeah, he's like my brother's next Billy Joel, which is a stretch, but I love Billy Joel. That's
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
And all my other that's not to downsize how much my other family has supported me as well. Like my dad, if there's an opportunity for me to play somewhere, he'll make it happen. He'll make sure I get there. My mom will always push me to go like for an audition if I'm like upset about it, if I don't want to do it because I'm stressed out, then she'll help me get to that. And yeah.
Well, how does it feel like at times getting hired to play certain venues at age 16? I mean, that's a great thing, obviously.
Yeah. So, wait, can you rephrase the question?
Yeah. So how does it feel to get hired to play at certain venues, or maybe I should rephrase that question as what's the most memorable venue that you've gotten to play at age 16 with your Because I think you also mentioned to me one time you got a band too, or
Yeah.
a group of band. Talk a little bit about that, and then talk too about like the venues or where you've had opportunities to play.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I think probably the coolest place I got to play like as like a jazz gig.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a lot of cool places I got to play, but okay, so it's like a smaller scale one was probably Rudy's Jazz Room.
Okay.
So I got to play there. I think we were like the first kids to like play there, and that was like really dope. And so it's like a small room, and then I think probably I played also at. This was for my band, my jazz band, called NYJE National Jazz Ensemble. We got to play at the Skirmerhorn.
Oh wow, that's
Yeah,
cool.
that was amazing. We got to play like before the jazz ambassadors for the U.S. military, and then I played at Bridgestone Arena as well.
Oh cool.
And so it was like a Predators banquet, and so we were like
Oh, that's amazing.
yeah, that was really awesome. That felt like the Skirmish was before all that, and that was like surreal. I was like, I don't even know why I'm here. It was the year I had made top chair of the top band of NYJE, and that was like I was like riding that high for making it, because the year before that I was in the lower band, and then I got up to that spot, and then I'm here on this huge stage in this huge auditorium.
Yeah.
And it was just nutty. It was amazing too, and it felt great. And then after that, my nerves for everything kind of got super nullified. So I didn't get nervous, and I actually really enjoy performing now for people.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So when you go and perform, and then what is some of the reaction when people find out that you're 16? I mean, because the way you play is not like and I've heard 16-year-olds play. Is not like your normal 16-year-old. Right. So, I mean, how do people react to that? That's
I've had a lot. Usually, they don't talk as much to me, but they talk more to my parents or my dad. Like so, like at church, I would have played like one time. I'm in the praise band at my church, and so I played the piano. And at the end, I did like a solo on a blues song, which never happens in that church. It's a Victorian style Presbyterian church, so nobody plays blues in there. But I played a blues solo, and they got up and started dancing. And they were like, "How old is he?" He's 16. And they were like freaking out, like what? And then whenever I played Rudy's Jazz Room, this felt great. There was a lady that used to be like a scout, I guess, in New York, and they were like, if you were there, if I was still scouting, you got it. And they said it to me, and I was like, that was the high of the night for me.
Wow.
Yeah. So, yeah.
That's pretty cool. That is really cool. That's not pretty cool. That is really cool. So where do you see music for you in the future?
I'm not exactly sure. I always know I'm going to do music, and my dream like life would be to play music all the time for people and create music, and have that out for people to listen to. But it just depends on how it takes off, if it does take off, because I also have like an interest in engineering and stuff like that. So I have that kind of side as a profession maybe. But I know I'm always going to be doing music to some degree.
Gotcha. Well, it's something you love doing, and you want to do what you love doing.
Yes.
So and it's a lifelong hobby. So for you, this would be a lifelong companion, so to speak. Yeah. So let me ask this question: if you could play, let's talk about this. Who would you want to play with? Someone from the past or present, if you had the opportunity, who would you want to play with? And it could be more than one or two people.
So I'm going to pick one for classical and one for jazz, because I don't play classical as proficiently as I do with my jazz. I would probably pick Bach for that, because he was very not a lot of people, while he was alive in the Baroque period, not a lot of people knew about him a lot. He was not as famous as he could have been because he was outshone by Handel, another composer in the German area. But he created the fugue, or like, I don't know how to say it, like made it famous.
Right, yeah.
After he got studied. And so I always found the fugue very interesting because it's like different melodies going together. And so I would want to learn about him. I would want him not so much to like play with me, but like to like teach me some of those things. Because my jazz teacher, he talks about Bach all the time. Like if he saw you improvising, he would know exactly what you're doing. He was like, geez. And so if I were to play with somebody with jazz, there's a lot of great options. Let me think here.
You got a top 5, top 3.
Okay.
Go with that then.
I think I would probably pick Chick Corea.
Okay.
And one of the best jazz pianists. Herbie Hancock, another one of the best jazz pianists of all time. I can't really pick pianist, but I could. If I'm gonna pick like a bass, maybe Jaco Pastorius.
Okay.
Let's see here. Let me think of a good like trumpet. Well, Louis Armstrong is a famous one. Maybe Miles Davis. And then for my last one, I'm gonna pick probably Joe Henderson.
Okay. Yeah.
Sax player. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Good deal.
Yeah.
Well, Carter, you have something else to play for us before we wrap it all up? You want to wrap it all up with something?
Well, I can play newer song.
Well, Carter, thanks for coming on Discovering 615. Appreciate it, bud. Thank you for your time. And everybody, make sure you tune in to this episode of Discovering 615. Have a great day, and God bless. See you.